The Fugitive Slave Act, passed by Congress in 1850, required citizens of free states to aid in returning escaped slaves from the South. For many, this law posed an important question: should a man follow his conscience or law of the land? There was always a steady flow of abolitionists and runaway slaves at the Snow House. Frequent guests included Wendell Phillips and William Lloyd Garrison. According to Snow's daughter, Martha, they often discussed the great problem they were trying to solve. Shadrach, pictured here, disguised as a woman, was a runaway slave that had been captured by a slave catcher in Boston. He was brought before the U.S. Commissioner, and fortunately for him, he was quickly snatched away and hurried off on the Underground Railroad. Samuel Crocker was one of Fitchburg's rebellious spirits who was willing to secretly guide travelers along the Underground Railroad. One night, Crocker heard a knock at his door. Shadrach was led to his home on 50 Parsons Circle by Benjamin Snow. Shadrach was invited in and provided warm clothes and food. Eventually, Shadrach was sent towards Canada through Ashburnham with a wagon that Crocker had given him. Once successfully reaching Canada, he sent Crocker a token of his safety. The Trinitarian Congregational Church, located on 66 Day Street, was another stop on the Underground Railroad. In 1844, a group of anti-slavery sympathizers withdrew from the Calvinistic Congregational Church and founded the Trinitarian Congregational Church. Reverend George Trask was a pastor at the church. His young son Josiah would become very involved in the anti-slavery movement. The anti-slavery movement expanded westward, in which Fitchburg was to play a significant role. The Kansas-Nebraska Act repealed the Missouri Compromise. The act stipulated that the issue of slavery would be decided by the residents of each territory. After the bill passed on May 30, 1854, violence erupted in Kansas between pro-slavery and anti-slavery settlers. Dr. Charles Robinson of Fitchburg edited the Fitchburg News at the time and openly criticized the Kansas-Nebraska Act. He took charge of the expedition of 200 New England immigrants to Kansas. Under his leadership, Fitchburg men were among the first to arrive in Kansas in 1854. A free state government was formed in Kansas, and Robinson was elected governor. On January 29, 1861, Kansas was admitted to the Union as a free state. Josiah Trask, son of Reverend George Trask, joined the party of immigrants with Robinson. He worked with the Kansas Free State Journal, which was an anti-slavery newspaper that antagonized Southern sympathizers. Guerrilla groups attacked the newspaper office. When it was suggested that Josiah give up his job at the newspaper, he shook his head and said, "No, I'll die for Kansas." Josiah was shot and killed before long and was brought home to Fitchburg for burial. So there you have it. Fitchburg, Massachusetts was home to many brave souls willing to risk it all to help free slaves. These individuals made differences on a national scale, and it all started right in our own backyard.